Roxie brushed her black hair till it gave off its own light. She pulled on a black tee and low-waisted, soft black leather pants, and admired the fit in the mirror. She slipped into black sneakers and a tight-fitted black leather jacket, and with a final look in the mirror, left her room and moved into the loft, heading for the door. "And just where are ye going, lass?" Why did the sound of his voice make her pulse beat so erratically? She turned and leveled a look that clearly said it was none of his business. "Out," she replied. He said nothing to this, but moved with vamp speed to stand towering over her as he softly whispered, "Fine. Out it is." She gave him a hard look as he shrugged into his brown leather jacket, trying to ignore his tight-fitting jeans and his bulging chest muscles that she had an irresistible urge to touch. Oh, but he looked good in his gray t-shirt. "You aren't invited." "No problem. I've invited myself." He grinned at her as he opened the door wide. "What's that ye have tucked in at your back?" "A wooden stake." She gave him a rueful eye. "Is it harm ye mean me, then, love?" He shook his head. "A wooden stake won't do it." "Want to get rid of you, not harm you. And the stake is for vampires. I'd rather stake them than bite them." "Ah, I don't like the taste of them either. Tainted blood, most of them." "You should know, being part vamp, that is," she said sweetly as she skipped down the brick steps to the alley below. There was only one way into Damon Drummond's loft, and a one-way narrow alley that led there. He was at her side at once, murmuring, "One to the left, and another directly across the avenue. I suppose WB has Drummond's loft under surveillance." "They do, and we know, though they don't know that we know. We can lose them any time we want, like now." Suddenly she warped into super speed and vanished, or thought she did. But when she slowed to a stop by the river, Chase was right beside her. "Phew, shall we do that again, lass? Very invigorating." "There's another secret I have been keeping from you," she said speculatively. "It isn't a lie, if it is my business, not yours. But even so, I think it is time you knew. You marked me as a wolf to wolf, but you say it means nothing because you are more than a wolf. You think it means something to me, to my wolf, but that's because you don't know." "I don't know what?" "That I, smart Alec, am more than a wolf. I am also an immortal." She laid it on him and was pleased to see the surprised expression in his eyes and on his face. Then, with a bit of a smirk, she added, "And there's something an immortal can do that a vamp, a werewolf and a hybrid, even an original hybrid, cannot." "And what would that be, lass?" His voice was low and hoarse, even as his eyes were full with an expression she could not read. "Shift," she said, and then she was gone, using the style of locomotion her father had taught her when she was just a youth. It was as much science as it was magic, whereby an immortal could, much like a fae, create his own personal wormhole and travel wherever he thought to go. Roxie left her hybrid behind and went to the dark streets of Dublin, streets whose lights had been off for nearly 2 weeks. Streets heavily guarded and patrolled by WB's little brigade of vampires, and even some humans who were under their mind control. Roxie did a quick survey and quickly chose her victims one at a time. She came up behind them and tapped them on the shoulder. When they turned, she grimaced and quickly turned them into dust or goo, depending on their age. And then she shifted out, because she was looking for the gravy train. She wasn't there just to kill vamps.